Okay, we now move on to the SEIB virtual showing riding horses. And again, another full and very high standard in this class. So in 6th place, we have Chelsea Rowe, and she leads I Am the Man. In 5th, Longacres Supernova with Harley Ann Moon. 4th place, Beverly Curtis and Calypso. 3rd place, Laura Smith and Penpont Riley. 3rd, Victoria Smith, Greenhall Polly. And our winner is Jordan Meekins and Treavi Dazzler.
So we're now looking at the photographs of the horses, starting with our first place horse, why we chose this horse. He's a beautiful horse. He is a very good colour, I have to say. He's looking immaculately turned out. My eye just goes straight to his back end. He's got such a lovely, strong second thigh. He's
big engine, isn't there?
Big engine. He's got power coming from behind. He's beautifully level from the withers to the top of the bottom. He's got lovely second thigh on his foreleg, great angle, and a super length of rein with a lovely head, which obviously helps. He looks a lovely, well turned out horse. You can just imagine sitting in the middle of him. You can just feel yourself sitting in the middle of there, and you just be complete with that horse. He is a true riding horse, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that front leg, and he's got that real presence of, wow, look at me.
And even if the front leg there is standing slightly underneath it, it's still a beautiful front leg, so Absolutely. He can get away with it. So we then go on, well done.
Which is Victoria Smith.
Jordan. So we now move on to our grey horse here. This is a lovely horse. He would look better saddled because he's
quite a strong set head and neck, isn't he?
Strong set head and neck, quite a strong head, beautifully stood, and he's just got a little bit more sway through the back, so we'd be wanting to do a lot of long low work to get the muscle sort of built up through there. He is immaculately turned out. The photograph is absolutely lovely. First horse, second horse are lovely. In fact, the second horse is stood better, but our first horse, to me, rings out riding horse all day long. But having said that, I'd want to sit on both of them. They look both great sits. We then go on to our
Laura Smith and Penpont Riley.
Penpont Riley, again, a nice riding horse, not such good shape through the top line. He needs to build up some bottom. He's running without much top line on the bottom. When that comes up, I would imagine he's a young horse. When that comes up with more shape, you'll sit into the middle of him a lot more, whereas looking at our first and second horse, you'd sit into those, you'd get on him and just feel you're sitting on top of him a little bit at the moment. So we need to get the shape coming through.
Yeah, especially over his hindquarters.
Yeah.
So this is 4th place, and this is a lovely grey horse, Beverly Curtis and Calypso.
Okay, this is lovely. He's got lovely bone, lean and needs maturity. Super length of rein, good angles, going to sit nicely into him. Again, like the horse we just talked about, the one before, which was Laura's horse, he needs to put shape to his top line. He has far too many plaits, and if you have a good look at those, you could take them down to 11 plaits. They're all about sticking up on his neck. I'd have produced those plaits so they actually come round and produce more top line on them, and I wouldn't have plaited right the way down to the very titchy one on the top of the withers that goes all the way down and then it comes up. So I'd have made that, you could plait him up an awful lot better.
To improve his top line, wouldn't it?
Massively improve his top line. I wouldn't bridle him in a raised brow band. I'd do a nice flat nose band. Sat into his face slightly, an inch and a quarter, so we fill in that lovely gap that he's got. But he is lovely. He's got a lot of maturity, but with COVID you've got all the time till next year, and he'll be a different horse next year to now.
Good. 5th was Harley Ann Moon and Longacres Supernova.
Supernova, a lovely horse.
Loads of presence, hasn't he?
Loads of presence, bordering on, for me, the hunter side of the riding horse. He might just slightly go in between the two slightly. Too many plaits, a bit like the last horse. I'd say take the plaits down, build it up in front, give him more top line. Great angles, lovely conformation. You could have trimmed his heels out a little bit more and just sort of made him just a little bit neater through there. His tail's far too long, which makes the back end run down through there from the hip to the point of the bottom. You want to take that off about 4 inches so his tail would sit swinging as he goes. Beautifully bridled up though, beautifully turned out, and again, I'd love to see this horse moving. He looks like he'd be a great sit.
Another real look at me chap, and I love his markings as well.
Great markings.
Good. So 6th is Chelsea Row, and this is I Am the Man.
I Am the Man. We're standing with our front leg underneath us slightly. He's not looking with great presence. He looks a lovely horse, but we could have arched it up and made it look a lot more interested about the job it's doing. Beautifully turned out, as the rider is beautifully turned out. Stood very well behind, but the front end is standing underneath him. He's got a great shape through his top line, good angle through his shoulder, good length of rein, but please arch them up and make them really interested and prick their ears.
And the quarter markers would improve him a lot.
A great
well,
deal.
wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would.
Good. So well done SEIB again. It was another very strong and full class.
Right.